Hey, I'm Keith and welcome to another episode of Traveling Down the Banisters. Today I want to talk about hooking up your RV electric and what you should do to make sure that you're safe whenever you hook up power to an RV campground. One of the things that we like to do every time before we hook up our power is test our power to make sure that it's what it should be before we hook up anything, including your RV surge protector. A lot of people depend on their RV surge protector. In fact, since we moved into here where we are currently at Adventureland Park, we've seen a lot of people come in and just directly hook up their power without testing it first. Whereas if you buy an electric tester, you can actually know what your power is before you hook up your surge protector. Surge protectors are meant to help you in the event of a surge of power coming through. They are not meant to diagnose, test, or to make sure that the power is correct coming from your RV pole. So it's always best to buy some kind of tester, no matter what kind it is, and make sure that you're getting either the 120 or the 240 that you're needing, and power is not coming through your ground or neutral. So let's go over to a power pole now and let me show you what I do. Whenever you get to a new campsite, you're gonna run into a power pole that looks something like this. There may be different variations of them, different plugs, different setups, or even different types of poles, but they all have the same general idea and the same concept. What you want to do is, first of all, open up your box and check everything. Turn off the breakers, turn on the breakers, make sure everything works properly before you even start trying to test anything at all. Sometimes you may find yourself needing to go to a different campsite just because of a simple thing like that. On this particular box here, there's actually a broken ground fault plug, which I personally would not hook up to on the 110 if I needed. In our situation, we use 240 volts, which is a 50 amp plug, so I wouldn't have to worry about hooking up to that one. Still gonna test it anyways to show you. So what you wanna do is you wanna start with the plug you're gonna use, the 50 amp. Take a standard multimeter like this here, and on the multimeter you're gonna see there's a V with a little squiggly line beside it. That is your AC voltage. And on some of the multimeters, which it should show right there, it will actually show AC. Now, for a 50 amp plug, how you wanna test this is first, you wanna start with the ground on top and the neutral on the bottom, okay? That's the ground up there, this is the neutral on the bottom. If there's any power coming through there at all, stop what you're doing. You can't hook up to that one. That's the one that got me, unfortunately. On your tester, you wanna go ahead and turn to the little V symbol with the line going through it. And on mine, it shows 700. That means that it goes up to 700 volts. Then from there, you wanna check both of your hots. Now you have a hot on each side of that plug. Once you plug in, you should see on your tester that you are getting 240 volts. Now, some places may give you different numbers. You might get 235, you may get 245. My safety range is no more than plus or minus 10 from what the power should be at 240. In fact, I wouldn't even go more than 5 volts. And there's a whole other videos out there that can tell you about RV power and the best things to go with, and I'll link some of them right up here in the description. But if you're getting 240 power, then you're good. So then what I go ahead and do next is I test the neutral and one of the hots. 116, 117 there. And the neutral and another one of the hots. And you may have to wiggle it around to get it to show. Then I check the hot and a ground and the other hot and a ground. The reason why I do that is because if there is a disconnection between the ground or the neutral, those will not work individually. If you do just the two hots together, you'll always get the 240 volts to come through. But if you touch the neutral and the ground together, it'll create that circuit, which will give you a signal, and it'll show you if the neutral or the ground is properly hooked up in that box. Now, when it comes to the other plugs, they're pretty much the same, except for the power is a little different. So let's turn on the 30 amp here. The 30 amp plug is basically the same way, but it's a little bit different. Always make sure you check, because a lot of these are broken at campgrounds, so you don't electrocute yourself. This side is the hot, this side is the neutral, the top one is the ground. So we're gonna do the neutral and the ground first, like we normally do. There's no power. We're gonna hook the ground and the neutral together, and we're gonna get 117 volts, which is correct.